All right, Bulls and Bears, BX4 back in the building. Ride the bull, prepare for the bear. Boom to the bust. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Back with another dose of economic reality. The politicians, the puppet masters, the bankers at the top of the pyramid, the top 1% that run the economy, that control the printing presses, they're out there still trying to get everybody to believe that the economy is strong and that everything is just fine, and that everything that we're seeing right now is okay because things are moving in the right direction. In the meantime, when you look at the real picture, the real scene, debt continues to climb. That's the bottom line, folks. If people are getting further and further into debt, for the most part, not everybody, but 7 out of 10 people, right around there, are just getting further and further and further into debt. More people robbing Peter to pay Paul, balance transfer, musical chairs, all these different ways that people are maintaining these debt levels, praying for a rate cut. Not just the markets. The markets are praying for a rate cut. A lot of people are praying for a rate cut. But let's get into the news here that's going to shed some light on what's happening. Subway sandwiches. It used to be, what, the $5 foot long? Now, bring it up a larger here. Subway crisis. Major fast food giant calls for emergency meeting with 19,000 shops amid sinking sales. Remember, it used to be the $5 foot long, and then I was getting these coupons for a while where 3 subs were $17.99 just a few years ago. I used to do that quite a lot. I used to get 3 subs for, what, $18. Now the same coupon that I got in the mail just recently, 3 subs for $23.99. So we're up to, even with the coupon, we're up to what's that, $8 each. 3 subs for about $24 with the coupon. I'm afraid to look at the price without a coupon. Is it $10, $12 now for a foot long sub, which is 70% bread? I kind of felt ripped off, even using a coupon. I kind of felt ripped off eating a Subway sandwich. Like, it's mostly bread. Open up the bread and you've got just a little bit of filling in there. But 19,000 shops are going to be in talks. Now, what are they going to do here? They're going to cut prices, like we see the value menus coming back to some of these restaurants. But look into this here. America's beloved Subway food chain, tragic drop in sales. These are not my words, folks. What they're saying here. Despite sports stars like Steph Curry and Patrick Mahomes. You mean people aren't buying the subs because their athletes are eating these subs? Do you base your food purchasing habits on if a sports star is in a commercial? I guess that's what they think when they get these stars out there. Oh, everybody's gonna go buy subs now because this this athlete is buying it. So if I eat a Subway sub, I'll be able to dunk a basketball, whatever, hit 3-pointers. Is anyone really that silly where you're gonna base your food purchases off of some athlete that is on a commercial? But they're still paying these athletes a lot of money. Maybe they should look at who's in these commercials. How many millions of dollars are they paying these athletes who are already millionaires? But how much, how many people, what portion of their customers are actually buying the food because they saw an athlete or a celebrity in a commercial, right? To me, that's pretty mind blowing. It's pretty sad. In April 2024, Subway sold its franchise to Rourke Capital, which manages and owns Cheese Factory, Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins, and Arby's, and more. Subway, a recent addition to Rourke Capital, had been sold for $9 billion. The company, due to a recent setback, Subway has informed all franchisees that they must restructure plans and reveal strategies to revive customer traffic and win back lost market share. How's about not paying athletes millions of dollars to be in your commercial? Because I don't think anyone's buying the sandwiches because athletes are in the commercial. But there's a lot of businesses, a lot of brands, companies out there doing that, right? Very strange. I always thought that was kind of strange. But I guess, please let me know down in the comments. Maybe the U.S. consumers, the general public that are making their purchase decisions based on these commercials, maybe they are buying these things because of athletes. And maybe I'm the one that's wrong. And maybe people are just that easily influenced, by these people. Let's go ahead and move on here, folks. We got a lot to get into today. A big hack. Look at this. What did I say was going to happen? It's going to be more outages, more hacks. Nearly 3 billion people hacked in national public data breach. what you need to know: a database of 3 billion people of personal information stolen. A background checking company was for sale on the dark web for $3.5 million for the data. So keep an eye on your credit report. Make sure nobody's running up debt in your name. We see a picture of the hacker right here. There he is. He's got a hood on. He's got a skull on his laptop. So I'm glad they found him. Let me guess. He's from Iran or Russia. That's just my guess. I'm not even going to get into the article because you guys know what's going on with that. Seniors are struggling, and to underpin this, let's bring this up here. I'm down to eating ramen. Ramen. Is it ramen? Ramen. Social security benefits aren't keeping up with inflation. We've got seniors out here eating ramen noodles. 78 years old, she's going to skimp on her meals because of her social security benefits are not keeping up. What did we just talk about last report? We talked about the COLA, the cost of living adjustment, was less than even the fake or phony inflation number. What the phony number is, what, 2.9%? Really, it's like 3 times that, at least 10%. But even the cost of living increase didn't even meet the number that's way too low, which is 2.9% as of the last reading. So of course these seniors are going to be eating ramen noodles. They're going to be skipping. They're going to be going back to work, entering the workforce at 70, 80, 85 years old. Just sad, folks. But that's what's going on here. But it's okay because inflation is cooling and everything is so good. We're going to actually be doing rate cuts here in the future because everything's so good, and we need prices to go up more. Remember, prices going up is economic growth. You taking on debt is economic growth, right? So the whole thing is a scam, folks. Let's go ahead and move on, though, because I've got a couple other things to get into. Out of Fortune here, housing affordability is so strained that teachers would need double their pay to buy a typical house. Here in San Diego, we saw a lot of schools doing, a lot of teachers going on strike. And out here, it's especially high for housing. But even teachers, sometimes they can't live where they teach, and a lot of them have to commute very far distances to come in and get abused by their students. Investopedia. People are growing more concerned about paying their debts. Wow, haven't they heard, though, that the consumer's strong, that inflation's cooling? Right? Cooling means things are getting easier, right? Households are taking out more debt as they struggle to keep up with the high price of goods. Unemployment increases and diminishes pandemic era savings have forced many to turn to credit cards. Of course. Increased credit card usage has helped lift delinquencies as high as borrowing costs compounded debt. Folks, this whole thing is just one ticking time bomb. It's anybody's guess when the bomb's actually going to go off because of all these other ways that they're kicking the can down the road, as we say here. Cisco slashing thousands of jobs. Announces yearly profit of $10 billion. So even profitable companies are still shedding jobs. Is it AI? Is it AI, or is it just a drop off in demand? I think a lot of it is a drop off in demand. And even with drop off in demand, all they have to do is give the CEO more money and just be stingy on the pay raises. And it's pretty easy to make profits. As long as the banks are loaning out money, people still have more credit. It's easy for these companies to make profits. It all goes back to the debt, folks. It all goes back to the banks issuing money they don't have, creating money out of thin air. No reserve requirement for the banks, right? This is what it's all about. As soon as that stops, if the system of money was ever to go to a limited or asset-backed currency, profits would crash. Jobs would be lost. The economy would be in recession in a matter of weeks. Not just a recession, a depression. And you would see massive deflation, falling prices. That's why they don't want sound money for currency-backed money. They want to be able to create it at the click of a mouse to infinity. All right. Let's move on here, folks. Something else here that I think is going to be important to discuss today. Look at this. 59% of Americans wrongly, and I stress the word wrongly think the U.S. is in a recession. So, most Americans, well over half. Why would they think that? Because they're looking at their budgets, and again, they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. They can barely get by. So they think that there's a recession. But remember, a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. And what do we need to happen to see any negative economic growth? We need to see deflation. We need to see falling prices. And in order for that to happen, you have to have the banks pull back on the lending. But banks aren't doing that, folks. So you could see the economy continue to avoid recession, even though people are broke, and you can have a mass bankruptcy storm and there would still be no recession as long as they can continue to inflate and cover all this up with more inflation. Why do you think they need rate cuts, folks? Speaking of inflation and how the 2.9% is wrong, another example right here: egg prices. 20% since last year. Why egg prices have jumped 20% since last year? Well, we've got millions upon millions of chicken farms being burned up, um, chickens being put down, so to speak, because of mysterious illnesses, right? All this crazy stuff going on. Look at this: a couple that earns $250,000 a year cannot find a house in their budget. $250,000 couple. So not only can the woman not stay at home and be an at-home mom, she's working, and even with that, they still can't find a home in their budget. Quote, we refuse to become house poor. So they don't want to overpay or max out to get into a home that they'll probably have to take on second jobs. Imagine you're both working, husband and wife, couple, whatever, both working, and now they both have to take on second jobs. So between two people, you have 4 jobs, and you're still barely scraping by, right? Not fun, folks, but this is the name of the game. This is the inflation nightmare that many people are in. And remember, they're using inflation to cover up the real economic situation, because if more debt is being accumulated, that's money that's being spent. That's economic growth. That's what they call economic growth, folks. And let me give you another example of how insane this whole thing is. Government spending money, in this case borrowing money, and then let's say they're spending it on weapons, and the weapons are used to blow stuff up. That spending is also called economic growth, government spending. It's crazy, but it's true, folks. All right, so strap in. I'll get ready because I think we're headed for some big fireworks in this, we're mid-August right now. As I'm putting this out, yeah, August 15th, mid-August. So we've got about 4.5 months to go, and it's going to get very, very wild in my opinion. Look what's already happened here just in the second half so far, in the month and a half that we've been in the second half of this year. It's going to get even crazier, believe it or not, folks. Get ready for some outages. Get ready for darkness. Get ready for, I think, shocks. Shocking events are going to be unfolding, folks. They've got to cover up this economic collapse. And I think you know as well as I do, going to see some fireworks, everybody. Strap in, keep stacking, everybody. Big love. Bye for now. Peace.